new studio. Well,
Ish.
half new studio. Welcome, guys. This is kind of like a new setup for us.
Yeah, we're testing.
We're testing out a new setup.
We're testing.
It's funny. I can't remember what I was saying on it. Like someone said, "Oh, you're back in a studio." Oh, that's right. No, when we recorded the Ava episode, someone commented being like, "Oh, you guys are back in a studio, finally in a studio."
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Not everyone can afford to be in a studio at all times. And I said, we're working on some new setups and some new ideas. And
the goal, look, we love this is a studio, and the goal is to get back in there and, yeah, eventually get back in there.
But this is just a new idea that we've got, and we thought we'd have a conversation in here.
Also, it's been 2 weeks since we've recorded together.
I know. I've been down bad with influenza A, which is not fun. Get your flu shots, everyone, if you are in the middle of winter, wherever you are in the world.
It was a really slow demise for you as well. You're like, I'm kind of sick. And then like, I'm sick. And then it's like, I'm dying.
Yeah, there was a good couple of days there where there was like, I was feeling sick and then I had to go work on a Friday and I was like, no, I can do this. And I was sitting there with you. I actually saw you that morning and I was like, I just have a headache and a runny nose. And you're like, yeah, your nose is full. And then I got home and the next day I was goners. I was not good. And I was like, I feel so bad. I've been around everyone.
I don't think you got anyone
Not
sick.
a single person that I was around got sick. So I'm
not even the mush.
Yeah, I managed to keep everyone safe and sound, thank God. Even Tom was fine, but whatever I had was not great.
I think it was your body telling you, slow down, please let me rest.
Honestly, and last week was so hard because I had so much work to do. Luckily, I had nothing scheduled to be out of the house and working, but I had a lot of in-house work. So that was fun. And if you have sick leave, take your sick leave, people, because working for yourself, I don't have sick leave. And that was a really big struggle. But yeah, how are you going? What's happening?
I'm good. Obviously, we are off the bat of Silverstone GP. It's funny because we always say Silverstone, but everyone in the UK is like Silverstone.
I know. Tom corrected me on that this morning. He's like, it's Silverstone.
So Silverstone Grand Prix.
I just say the British Grand Prix now.
Yeah, British Grand Prix. We're off the back of that. We will get into that. But hey, let's start with some F1 news.
F1 news. What's been happening? What's happening in the news cycle? Tell me.
All right, lots has been happening. And I'm going to start off with a point that you put in, which will lead me into another point.
Okay. Happy with that?
So Franco out and Bottas are doing back in.
Yeah. So the new rumour is that Franco Colapinto, that could be his last race. He might not be at the Belgium Grand Prix, which is in 2 weeks' time. Interesting. Look, Alpine have one driver swap possible left for the season, or maybe it's two. You can have four drivers in a season in one seat. I think it's really rough, but after this weekend, Franco Colapinto having a DNF again, it just is hard. I am now seeing rumours of Jack Doohan going back in that seat, as well as possible Valtteri Bottas. I don't think it's going to be Valtteri Bottas. I think they would give Jack Doohan back the chance, and if anything, they're just going to swap those two drivers around and just see who performs.
It's just so chaotic, right? And it's like, I think the reason why they are DNFing is because there's so much pressure on them.
Oh, I think there's a ton of pressure. Right? I mean, imagine having them as your fucking team and having what's his face? Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot his name. Flavio. Imagine having Flavio breathing down your neck, especially being Jack Doohan's like manager technically.
Yeah, I know. And especially the fact that, Franco's been given this race to race clause. Like he was initially, it was like 6 races and now it's.
And they're young guys.
They're
young. Media pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. So I'm like, yeah, it's just dumb doing jumping. Just pick one, stick to it. Invest in them, invest in all aspects of them. They're not going to feel like they have this mounting pressure on them, and then maybe they'll perform. I really feel for Franco. I was like, no, and when he was out, because he crashed in Q1 in quali and broke my heart. But interesting because on the topic of Franco, so Franco has just secured a massive sponsor. Claro.
Who's that?
Claro.
Who's that?
So Claro is a South American telecommunications company. It's like the biggest telecommunications company.
huge.
It's like Optus, the equivalent of Optus. And so they are, massive personal deal. Like it's not for Alpine. It's like specifically for Franco. They used to sponsor Checo. That obviously didn't go very well. But
oh, you know what? Have you seen what Checo's been saying?
What did you say?
It kind of, we'll go back to Jack in a second. Not Jack, Franco. Checo did a podcast and he said Red Bull, he knows Red Bull is regretting it.
Oh,
he said a few other comments which make you just go, ooh, Checo's out for a bit of revenge here, I think. I think he's pissed off.
I knew that was going to happen though. He was just sitting in the wings quiet.
Yeah. I'm surprised he made public comments. Like it does not seem like him to make public comments like that. Maybe it is. Maybe it's long-term frustration. And now he's hinting at things and he's saying the team is falling apart since XYZ happened and he was the final straw and now it's going even further down. And I'm just... I'm intrigued. There's where there's fire, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yes.
Yeah. Why can't we ever get that saying right? I feel like this is like the 10th time I fucked that up. Anyway, sorry, back to telecommunications and Franco.
No, yeah, that's so they've signed this massive deal. I think there was something I read in this article where it said, someone asked someone at Claro like, oh, well, he's not performing, but they were kind of like, no, we have faith and expect him to, Well, obviously that's another massive thing sitting on your shoulders. Again, he's young. You're going in there thinking, I've just secured this massive personal sponsorship. I want to perform. So
there's a lot of things like that.
Vamos, Franco.
What do you say?
Vamos, Franco.
Vamos, number 43. Vamos. I think there's a lot of pressure when you have an individual sponsor like that on the back of your shoulders. I'm currently watching the new Tour de France Netflix series, season 3. The Tour de France has just started as well. And there's plenty of riders that are part of teams, but then individually sponsored by other networks or brands. There is one rider, he is sponsored by Red Bull individually. Now, Red Bull also has their own team in the Tour de France. Ooh, and then there's another driver that has signed a deal with Netflix just to be part of him, but then others have done it with teams. Like there's all these different things going on. So I imagine things like that would be very tricky and interesting to navigate through the business world as well.
Yeah, definitely. We were speaking about Checo before, and I think we need to mention this because I read this about Christian Horner. He was interviewed and they asked him who he would want in that Red Bull seat.
Oh my God.
And he said, well, obviously Oscar. And then sort of backtracked and was like, but, obviously McLaren's doing a really good job there and they're doing a great job with that pairing. And and obviously Oscar's not going to leave McLaren and the McLaren is doing so well, like they're performing so well.
Oscar's not going to leave McLaren.
No.
But boy, was he pissed off with that team this weekend, and rightfully so. They favoured Lando massively again, and they're doing that a lot at the moment. There's something they're not getting their priorities right. I think they need to give equal attention to both their drivers. There is an 8-point difference between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri for World Championship.
Yeah.
It's very close for the team.
Well, I have something to say on that, but I think I'll save it for when we're talking about the race.
Okay.
Yeah. And then last thing that I saw in the F1 news, so James Vowles, there was speculation that apparently he would move away from Williams and replace Toto Wolff at Mercedes. Did you see this?
No, but hell no. Everyone's always trying to say, I think we discussed this in one of our car episodes a couple of weeks ago, between Ferrari and a Le Mans team and James Vowles leaving. James Vowles is not leaving Williams. What he is doing for Williams' team is fantastic. Where they were when he started compared to now, he has said from the get-go, 2026 is what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
That's the plan that he was brought into Williams for. He is not leaving until the end of that season is done next year because they're going to see what he is capable of.
Well, the other thing as well, he was like, my proudest career moment was joining Williams.
Yeah, he's not leaving. I think he's too fantastic for that team. He is the perfect energy. He has the right intelligence to stay on that team level. He's not going anywhere.
Really, James Vowles.
I love him.
Yes.
I think he's brilliant.
Same. He's really shone this year.
I think
in the socials.
I think he's so good. He makes me so happy every time I see him come on TV, and also his participation for the team.
Yeah. He's done a lot for the team.
I think he's bringing, like, obviously he brought Carlos Sainz into the team, which brought some more dollar value in. Alex Albon, already an excellent driver and, you know, looming potential Thailand Grand Prix and all of that sort of stuff. It was technically Alex's home race this weekend being British. But if Thailand happens, like, I think James Vowles.
He does race under the Thai flag.
He's got a lot of input in that marketing say, and those are the key things in it. And he himself is someone that does that, especially when he is on the pit wall and he's jumping onto the broadcast. It's either him or Zach Brown that are jumping into broadcast to chat to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not happening. He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not.
Let's get into social corner.
Pat's social corner. It'd actually be nice on the YouTube if that, like, came up all sparkly. Maybe we need to update the cover photo there. Yeah. If you're not watching our YouTubes, maybe you should, guys.
Yeah, you should. They're good. They're good.
Even if you don't watch it, can you, like, whilst you're here, just go, like, quickly subscribe to our YouTube channel? That would, you know, maybe get us a better studio, and then you might be happier to that negative comment out there.
She's not offended.
I'm not offended at all.
All right. Well, I don't know if you saw Magui Corceiro. For those that don't know, Lando's girlfriend. She was on the cover of Portugal's Forbes magazine and listed in Forbes 30 under 30.
Oh, cool. So she bought her position there.
Is that what you think?
I have a thing with anyone that ever signs up to Forbes under 30, like Forbes 30 shit.
30 under 30 list.
Unless you're someone like Oscar Piastri, he landed himself in that list last year. That's because
very much deserves.
He's Oscar Piastri.
There. Yeah, it's Oscar Piastri.
Everyone else buys their way in. I know so many people in Australia that have been on that list. Yes, you got to pay to enter, and then you can throw more money at it. Yeah.
Didn't Kylie Jenner? She paid, right?
No, she, like, someone like that. They get in. Like, but there are so many Forbes 30 under 30 type lists everywhere. It's the worst unit of measure because I am very aware that you can pay to be in those awards and win.
Also, I'm like, it's something that's sort of hard to quantify. Like, what actually makes someone, you know? I mean, unless, like, even the whole Kylie Jenner thing, they were kind of like, she's self-made, but then also
she's not self-made.
But exactly. But then it's like, is she self-made? Not really. Like, when you've got like that much financial backing, that much social backing, you're so well known. No. Like,
she knows how to market herself and got a team around her that would help market her.
She does.
There's no other way.
Okay, well, maybe she bought herself in.
I'm very, very negative about the Forbes 30 under 30, but it's like, honestly, is that a unit of measure for anything?
No. Next up, so Charles Leclerc's ice cream Lec is officially being sold in Switzerland.
Oh.
Hopefully people can find it.
I know.
Unlike Elle that went to Monaco and couldn't find it anywhere.
If you are in Europe, have a look around. Italy.
Yeah.
Italy and Switzerland now.
Yeah.
It was really hard to find. But there's certain supermarkets you can find. You're not going to Italy later this year, are you?
No.
No, you don't have time.
It's literally just London.
Yeah.
And maybe Paris. Yeah. But yes, did you also, this weekend, did you see the coverage? The moment like where Lewis Hamilton and Naomi Schiff?
Oh, she patted
herself. For those that don't know, Sky News commentator, ex-W Series driver, Naomi Schiff, she's pregnant, which we have spoken about before. And Lewis Hamilton and her had a really cute moment.
Yeah, and then she shared that on her Instagram as well. So Naomi is pregnant. She'll be off soon, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But he like rubbed her belly, which I know is like probably looks weird, but I'm sure, you know, she said it's fine.
I'm sure there was consent there.
I'm sure there was consent there. And I was reading the comments, it was like greatness meets greatness and like it's the Godfather. Like
people are saying it's like the Dalai Lama rubbing your head or something like that, giving you good luck.
Literally.
It's the equivalent. If Lewis Hamilton is giving you that sort of praise, it's the absolute equivalent. And I mean, he's probably like, ooh,
bless his face was so his face was so cute as well. It was like his eyes were lit up. So I thought that was a really sweet
All footage
moment.
of Lewis Hamilton this weekend and the last weekend has been really, really happy, which is really surprising because he's usually quite like he's got that aura about him, but he's usually quite closed off. Everything that I saw across the British Grand Prix, lead up market, all of that sort of stuff. Lewis Hamilton looked so pleased and happy and participated a lot. I mean, it is his home race and he does have a straight named after him. So I think there's a bit of pressure on him there.
Yeah, I think so. I will get more into that later. And then on the topic of, because we were speaking about Colapinto before, I don't know if you saw early on this week, they were doing like a funny coverage of the players kicking rugby balls. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't say that. What happened?
At the circuit. And Martin, so when Colapinto went to kick the ball, I think they had like one go. Martin Brundle was like a contract with Alpine, you only get one shot.
That's so brutal.
Yeah, brutal.
Martin, brutal. I still have
brutal Brundle.
I feel like brutal Brundle has his moments. I don't think I'll ever get over the moment of Martin Brundle and I in the paddock after the Oz GP in 2024. It still haunts me. It's been a year and a half.
Haunted for you.
I think about that incident way more than I need to, but he can be sassy as fuck.
He can be. On his scooter.
That is a sassy comment from him.
Yeah, sassy.
Well, they always know something is up, don't they?
Yeah. But hey, let's get into the race.
The race. Let's start it off with quali, because I've got a couple of points here. I felt for Ollie Bearman because he qualified 8th, which I think is his best qualification.
Yeah, so he got a 10-place grid penalty. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so he got a 10-place grid penalty. I think it was during practice 3. It was kind of a weird situation. So basically he was coming into the pits way too fast. Way too fast.
Is that where he got the...
Yes. And then he says it's because he had an issue with his brakes. And I think before that as well,
But they can investigate that if he's got an issue with his brakes.
Yeah.
They can check the PSI.
Yeah. And then I think as well, it was too... And then I think before that, he was going too fast during a red flag.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he got a 10-place.
Well, the red flag makes sense.
Yeah.
But they can check the PSI on the brake.
I think they said afterwards it was like, no. But he was pretty good. Like in the coverage afterwards, he was like, yeah, I stuffed up. Like it was my bad. And you could tell that he was disappointed because he's like, I qualified 8th. So no, that was a bummer. And then also Charles. Charles was so hard on himself.
You need to, I'm going to let you explain this. I feel like this is... Go for it. Tell everyone from the beginning what happened and how it finished.
Like I read this article. So poor Charles, I think he's really hard on himself at the moment. And he's like, I don't understand what's wrong with me. Like I've got, because obviously we saw like the Ferraris were doing so well in practice and I was like, come on, it's happening. And then quali, like Charles was like, literally his words, I'm doing so fucking shit. He's like, I don't understand why I'm not converting in qualifying. And then I think he got like 6th in quali. And he got like top 1, top 2 throughout practice.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like that for a lot of teams at the moment. Sometimes they're performing in practice. It's like
No, but I see Ferrari.
Yeah, I know. But like the Williams have been performing in practice as well. And then it comes to quali and they're not qualifying in quali.
I know.
Pretty much. So
such a bummer.
I don't know if it's also then, you're doing well in practice because the top teams maybe are not going as hard.
Probably.
Like McLaren and Red Bull do not need to go
as hard
in practice because they're literally taking it as a practice and to get a feel of the car.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just had a little intermission of cough break there.
But yeah, and then we did mention before Colapinto's crash as well in Q1, which was unfortunate. But I think we should get into the race. The race that stopped the nation.
The race that literally stopped the nation. And if you're not understanding that reference is for the Melbourne Cup, horse racing here in Australia. It definitely did stop the nation because England went from this 40-degree heat wave. Apparently on the Friday, it was absolutely unbearable being there. Like it was disgustingly hot to absolute pouring
it's giving Melbourne
rain.
2025.
The amount of rain that came down, and I just being there last year when it was raining, I was like, well, at least it's not 8 degrees and windy. I don't think it was that cold and I don't think it was windy. It was absolutely miserable last year, like bitter freezing ice winds. Yeah. But at one point on the track, they had to have a yellow flag and a virtual safety car because they could not see.
Yeah, it's
Did
insane.
you see that footage of even when who crashed because they couldn't see Franco Colapinto?
Not Liam Lawson.
Not Liam. Liam Lawson came out on the first track.
With Ocon.
It was even with you could not see so badly that there was even footage of Isaac Hajar, and it's taken vision from obviously where his helmet is. It is just like fog. And that is what all the drivers were saying.
So
and he's coming around a corner and he doesn't see the red lights of the car in front of him because it just appeared out of nowhere, and it's Franco Colapinto, and he kicks the back of it. Isaac went straight into the wall. Luckily, he was okay, but there was a lot of damage done to his car.
Yeah.
But he just could not see.
Yeah.
The spray on that was insane. And obviously, I lost count of how many virtual safety cars we had. I wish that was a drinking game. That would have been fun because,
it would have been a very
oh my
fun
God, that first
game.
half of the race was just like bing, bam, boom, boom, boom.
Literally.
Virtual safety car.
Literally. And even I know that, we should mention as well, I thought it was interesting, circling back to the formation lap. Did you see, so Charles Leclerc and George Russell went straight into the pits to get tired because everyone was sort of like, all the teams were going, what's the forecast, what's happening? Because it was, like you said, sunny at the beginning of the race, but they knew rain was coming, I think, around lap 12. And they were like, what do we do? So Charles and George came in at the formation lap and did a tyre change.
What? And then rejoined back on the grid in their spots. I missed that entirely.
Yep, so that happened initially. And then frustrating as well, that first crash, Liam Lawson's crash. I had to go back. I was like, wait, did I miss something? I was like,
the broadcast.
Sky News missed something.
Yeah.
It's like they spoke about it. They didn't show a thing.
Learned it is not Sky News.
Okay.
But it is UK media broadcast.
Okay.
So it is F1 themselves. They never filmed that crash because I actually saw that in the corner and you could hear Martin Brundle being like, oh, I think someone's just gone off. Because you see it in the distance and they're just focusing on Max, Lando and Oscar at the front. And yet, Liam fully came off. He got tapped.
Yeah.
Car gone.
It didn't even, I think by Esteban Ocon, it didn't even look that bad. But then it was like his back left tire just combusted.
Yeah, no, it was gone. He was trying to get it. So we had a virtual safety car right off the bat, first lap, boom, boom. And then,
and then it was just like dominoes. Pew, 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 pew.
I know. It just kept happening. And even Max was like, this is so slow. Like when he came off in one of the virtual safety cars when they restarted and he skidded out and he went back down to 9th or something like that. He was like, everyone's so slow back here. And Lando Norris, when he was in 3rd position, he was like, I can't see because the spray was so bad. The only person it was benefiting was Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
Which was a disaster. And this pisses me off. Okay, so we obviously had so many yellow flags. One of them should have been a red flag, to be honest, but that's a different conversation. Oscar, for the 5 virtual safety cars he had, was trying to keep his tyres warm. It's obviously getting colder. They're driving a lot more slowly. He's, braking a little bit as well. He's got Max on his back
literally
as well. This is when Lando was in 3rd position at the time. And Oscar got done for erratic driving and for braking behind the virtual safety car.
Braking too quickly.
Now, he got fucking 10 seconds. Is that fair? Do you think that's fair?
No. And I think what happened was because he braked and then Max Verstappen overtook him.
Yeah.
I think it was a calculated move by Max Verstappen. I think what he did is because when did that happen recently? He did the exact same thing. Because then he was on his radio. Oh, he's driving erratically. That's why I overtook him. Yeah.
It's look. I think it was entirely unfair.
So then he can use it in his favor be like, no.
Max Verstappen got 10 seconds for what happened in Canada with George.
Yeah.
But Oscar gets 10 seconds for that. It should have been 5 seconds. And for anyone that says that wouldn't make a difference, it would make a difference.
It would make a huge
Would have made a massive difference if it was 5 seconds because there was still only 6 seconds behind Lando at that point. And, they still had the option of DRS and more laps to go. It could have been a different lap. I am completely with Oscar being frustrated and I'm pissed off that McLaren did not back him up and did not contest that because apparently they went and checked the PSI of the tyres, the brake pressure and all of that sort of stuff. And it is possible that it could have been less of a penalty. But the FIA are just clearly making up their own rules with this situation. And they're like, it's part of our rule book. And it's like, well, hang on, but you're giving the same rules to George?
They don't understand the rule book.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Constantly rewriting the rule book. Interesting because I was listening to the broadcast afterwards and they were interviewing Zach Brown and then Lando Norris's dad came over at one point and Zach, I don't like what Zach Brown said. He was like,
he was just backing up Lando.
Well, no. So they were like, the Sky News broadcaster was like, that was so epic. You know, now I think there's only like 6 or 8 points between Lando and Oscar. So he was like, so Lando's dad, I think at one point came over and was like, yeah, I told you. So basically Zach Brown was like, yeah, I made a promise to Lando's dad saying that Lando would win the British GP, which is kind of like, you can't promise that, but cool.
That's like a surgeon promising your dad.
Yeah. And then
surgery is 100% going to go well.
And then the broadcaster, the Sky News broadcaster was like, oh, you know, that was just epic. This has been such an epic battle between the two of them. You know, do you think it'll be down to the wire once we're in Abu Dhabi? Like, is it going to be down to the wire? Or like, isn't that going to be exciting? And then Zach Brown was like, oh, yeah, like that. Do you know what? That would be really exciting. Like, I'll promise you that. I'll promise that Abu Dhabi, it's going to be literally a fight between the two of them at the finish. It'll be nerve-wracking, but I promise you that that's what it'll be like. And I'm like, I feel like this is, I don't want this to come across badly.
So what I'm getting you're saying is that there's controversy here and there's something shady going on, which leads me into the Lando stand. Why does Lando all of a sudden get a stand at the British Grand Prix? No, I'm like, yes, he's a fantastic driver.
Yeah.
But he's only just started winning this year.
Yeah, I know.
So why has he gotten it all of a sudden? It's obviously backed by Monster because it's got all the L4 and Monster stuff going on. But why does he get a stand? Lewis Hamilton got a straight at the British Grand Prix because he is a world champion. Lando Norris is not a world champion yet. It's like saying, you know, okay, OzGP, we need an Oscar Piastri stand.
Yeah, we do.
But we probably do. But
we do.
We do.
But then it's like, what about a George Russell stand?
Yeah, he becomes world champion, then he gets a stand. That's sort of what it is. I mean, we have the Ricciardo stand, obviously at the OzGP, but he also was such an icon for Australian sport and Australians in F1. But then why don't we have the Mark Webber stand? Like, there's a lot of things, and I think a lot of money comes into play with this.
It does. But
I'm very aggressive this morning.
No, I know. I don't want this to come across as badly, but I just feel like Zach Brown, with the way he's speaking that way, it's very like American. And I don't like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So,
you know what I mean?
But I also think Americans always have this promising, like they sell you the stars. It's like if you go to Hollywood, you're going to be an Oscar-winning actress. Like, we're going to make it. And then it's like, you just go to auditions.
Yes. But like, it's like he's trying to be. Look, I understand they don't want to have a number one driver, and yes, it's like all exciting, Lando Oscar, but like realistically speaking, if they want to be smart about it, then they should. I don't know. Should they favor a driver, or should they even just that language of saying like, I promise you, and at Abu Dhabi it's going to be down to the wire, and then okay, Zach. So then what happens if? Unfortunately, something happens at Abu Dhabi because you're putting so much pressure on like them being world champions. Like, there is a high probability that what if, you know, someone crashes into someone and then Max Verstappen rolls on in and then takes that from both of them.
Yeah, well,
I could picture that. I mean, maybe not necessarily.
I mean, maybe not. Max is quite far behind. Yeah. I think it's definitely going to be a McLaren at this point. Being world championship. I mean, we have 12 races to go, so like anything's possible. Anything's possible. But. Yeah, but also are we being a little bit biased because we're Australians and we're like, come on, Oscar.
Yeah, we are being biased, and yeah, we do want Oscar to win.
Yeah, of course we want Oscar to win, but there's just a lot of behaviours that I think everyone is picking up on. They're just going, hang on, is Lando favoured? Every week when we put up the question poll box for people to submit their predictions, the amount of people, and I just don't make them live, that say, it'll just be a Lando show with Sky News.
It always is.
Yeah.
But look, at the same time, I am proud of Lando. Like, I think winning a home Grand Prix is epic. But at the same time, I'm like, proud. Well, obviously, McLaren favoured him because they wanted him. Literally, it's like, I promised Lando's dad that he would win British Grand Prix. But, you know, it's incredibly special winning the Grand Prix and having all his family there. You know, he was saying, like, my grandparents were there. Like, that is something that you'll cherish for your entire life.
And I think he also, like, Oscar was clearly pissed off and knew something more had happened than just the FIA because he couldn't even talk afterwards. He said, no matter what I say right now, I'm going to get in trouble. So he just said, he just said, congratulations, Nico. That's the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah.
He didn't even congratulate really Lando. He said, obviously, great win. But, like, It was just, he just made it about Nico.
Yeah.
Which then.
Well, actually, I did have one more thing on this. I'm sorry. Before we get into Nico, because we do have to get into that. But I was going to say, and forgot to mention with quali, obviously I was very disappointed because I don't know if you saw like all the memes about, you know, Lewis Hamilton, he's been like, for the last 9 years, his worst performance was like third. So he's had a podium for the last 9 years. Most of them he's won the British Grand Prix. And I was very upset because I was like, what
I know,
happened?
could have been a real opportunity.
Max Verstappen in quali wasn't even performing in Q1. He was like, I don't know what's wrong with the car with 7 minutes to go. And then all of a sudden he just whips out this like flying lap and ended up getting pole.
He always does that. He always says
it's almost like, I think it's like poker face, like a bit of psychology.
I know, but I think everyone is tired of hearing, oh, what's wrong with the car? The car is shit, the car is shit.
And then he just like pulls a pole. Yes, I was very upset that there wasn't, not even on the second row, the Ferraris were in the third row. And all this stuff about Lewis and like Lewis has to perform and like this, you know, I saw this funny video of this guy like, Ferrari, he has to perform. And then and I think the top 6, it was the tiniest margins in quali, right? And then this morning watching the coverage and seeing Lando win, I had this thought that I was like, maybe I shouldn't be disappointed. Maybe I shouldn't blame Ferrari, but instead it's like there comes a point when there has to be like a changing of the guards.
What do you mean?
So eventually everyone ages out, right?
Oh, yeah.
And like Lewis has performed and done so well, and like maybe it's not necessarily a Ferrari issue, maybe as well. It's just, but isn't it?
I'm going to challenge you on that. I think it's a Ferrari issue.
Okay. I'm trying to, you know, defend them, even though I don't defend them anymore.
I think everyone has to stop defending Ferrari. They are a meme for a reason.
I know they are, but at the same time, like it's nice seeing someone else win, another Brit win.
I know. Everybody wants
British Grand Prix.
Drive a Ferrari.
Everyone does want to drive a Ferrari
at some point. I mean, we've seen it with all F1 greats that have moved to Ferrari.
Yes.
It's a curse.
I don't think it's a curse.
I think Ferrari.
Charles performed really well at Ferrari.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit of a curse. So when you move there being greatness, moving to Ferrari is curse.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not buying into that.
But we haven't been proven wrong.
I know, we haven't been proven wrong. But anyway, Nuno.
Okay. Wow.
Nuno.
Shut down my conversation.
No, because I don't want that to be the case.
But that's what
I do think it also is a bit of a changing of the guards. Like it is nice to see other drivers, other British drivers.
All right, let's talk about aging out. Nico Hülkenberg.
But he's not as old as Lewis Hamilton, is he?
Yeah. Yeah, he is. I'm sorry. Nico Hülkenberg, 15 years, 8 teams, 239 races. Finally got his podium.
I know.
Talk about aging out.
I'm proud.
I am ecstatic. I mean, the stars aligned for him. He couldn't have had a better race. Was it his driving or was it luck? Bit of both. It was a bit of both. It was probably more on the luck side. He pitted at the right time. He got the tyres strategy right. He had downforce like set up right correctly for him.
A couple of DNFs helped him out. A couple of safety
and he had a new floor in the car. So there was like a lot of little different things. I was really happy for Stake to have that moment, but I was really happy for Nico as well. And it was really gorgeous watching his daughter watch him get that podium as well, and seeing all the messages. Gabriel Bortoleto got on the radio and was like, "I'm just so happy for you," and you had to laugh at how fucking bitter Oscar was, and then to still ask after the interview, being like, Nico, I just have a question for you. How's it feel, your first podium being a Lego trophy that will fall apart? And he goes, yeah, well, my daughter will probably take that apart, but I do like Lego, so we can have some fun with it.
Oh, that's so great. I'm like,
okay, can we chat British Grand Prix and Silverstone about making Nico Hülkenberg a personalised trophy just for the situation?
Seriously, I know. Make him a real trophy.
Yeah, like it just
it's kind of funny.
It is funny. Look, I think Nico's podium is definitely going to overshadow Lando's win. It was really hard to know who you were happier for, because obviously home race for Lando. But Nico Hülkenberg having his first podium like that, just
everyone
excellent.
Was celebrating him. Like even I saw this photo that Mercedes ended up sending him a gift.
You know,
and
they sent him champagne because Stake didn't have any champagne, because why would they keep champagne on ice to celebrate? You know, all the other teams do, but they don't, because they just never expect that. So all the other teams sent over their champagne so that they could celebrate.
Sweet.
And now they've got a break so they can properly celebrate
celebrate. I'm like, no one's really celebrating harder. No one's celebrating harder than Hülkenberg.
Oh, it's absolutely excellent. I was so happy. I was so surprised. And then also Lance Stroll was up there at one point and I was like, oh, what? What is happening in the House of Commons?
Do you know what? Even like there was a really beautiful moment with Max Verstappen like congratulating him. I'm seeing like a lot of like warmer moments from Max.
I've been saying this. Okay, this is what makes me think that Max is nearly done.
He like came over to like Nico and like had his hand on his helmet and was like,
but okay, but also I think because Nico's been around for so long. I mean, even Kevin Magnussen was in the garage.
Yeah.
But okay, so on Max, obviously he's having all these sweet moments with Kimi. He invited Kimi on his jet the other week because Kimi was going to take an EasyJet flight.
No, that was Lewis Hamilton and Franco.
Oh, Lewis Hamilton and Franco. Sorry, like
I'll cut that
wrong one. You did cover that one, but Kimi gave Max a tow. Max gave Kimi a tow. They've been helping each other out. Then they went and got pasta together. Like there's been these like nice little things. I think Kimi like cut Max off at one point last week. And there's all these little things that everyone's like, something is going on, that they're being really kind to each other. And I'm like, also he could just be kind. He probably is a kind person who just gets frustrated when he loses. Yeah. I think we're making too many assumptions. But there are warmer moments from him.
There are warmer moments.
The dad's coming out in him.
It is. It's really sweet. But you know, I think we need, like, on the topic of Nico, I think we need to talk about the podium, his first podium. And it just looked really disappointing. I think Oscar just copped some champagne to the eye and was, like, standing there for ages, like, holding his eye. Lando ignored him. I mean, I think they kind of both ignored him, really.
McLaren went to the side of the podium.
They went to their racing engineer.
And but Nico sort of just stood there looking around being like, where did they go?
It was really sad.
A really sad and awkward moment, and it was unfortunate. It
was his first and probably only.
It could be the last.
Could be his only first and last. Then he like went over to the corner to his team and like started spraying his team.
I think it was really disappointing. It could have just been, I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was just completely coincidental that they went that way. Nico Hülkenberg probably just got like, wait, where am I going? No. And it was just a shame.
It's his first podium. Nowhere to go.
I know. I know. I felt really bad for him in that moment, but shit happens, I guess.
Yeah, shit happens.
It was, so exciting to see the Stake team down there and celebrating. Haley was down there with the Stake team.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Love that she was down there.
If you haven't already listened, make sure you listen to our episode with Haley.
Yeah.
Came out 2 weeks ago.
It is a good episode. And I just wanted to say, finally, on the race. Now, we obviously had a lot of safety cars. We had virtual ones and we had real ones. And I was thinking, I was just watching the guy in the safety car and I was like, fucking euphoric would it be to be the driver of the safety car?
You feel like you own the world.
Knowing that you're controlling 20 rich bastards behind you.
Yeah.
And no one can go past you.
No.
How good would that be?
You almost want to give it like an extra 5 seconds. They're like, okay, and clear. 5,
I was just like,
4, 3, 2, 1. All right, now I'll clear.
What a special damn job.
Very special job. It's also a sick car. We've been in it. It's very, very cool.
I was just like, this is such a... No, it was Mercedes this year.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's Mercedes. It was Aston Martin here in Australia. It's not the same everywhere.
I thought it was an Aston Martin over there.
No, it was an orange Mercedes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
Yeah. I was watching the guy and I was just like...
You're a lucky man.
He would feel so powerful right now.
Yeah, indeed.
The power of controlling all the F1 drivers.
Yeah, I think that, yeah. Look, we need to speak about something.
Yes.
I know we could have covered this in news, but I think it deserves to come after the race because of all the rumours and especially the point that you've written about George and the race.
Yep.
The rumours, obviously, about George and Max, and we've touched on this, but every week there's like more and more about this and who's going where, and obviously the iconic photo of Max
with all
sitting
in the around him. Here it is.
The conference if you haven't seen it. At the beginning of the race weekend. And what's this little theory that you've written about George following the race?
Look, George kept saying at points when he was fighting with Kimi during the race that he was faster than Kimi. He's like, I should be in front. I'm faster. George is obviously trying to keep his seat. He seemed to be laying a little bit more low on the media side of things this week. I don't think he wanted to deal with what Max was dealing with because everyone was asking him, being like, where are you going? What's happening? Because the rumor is that Max will be going to Mercedes. Where there is fuel, there's fire, and there is a shit ton of fuel here.
Especially with the fact that like
there's no denials.
But also like none of the Mercedes seats are confirmed for next year.
No, I think we will definitely see
there.
Kimi stay in that seat.
100%.
I cannot see him leaving. He is the future, as we touched on and in our last episode together, which wasn't last week, the week before, about George's performance at Mercedes. He's been there for a while now, and he's been a good driver, but he hasn't been a great driver. He's been up there consistently, but that's where he's sort of stayed. Is it him or is it the team? Is it time for a change of the guards? And it's very, very possible that Max could be going there. Maybe they do a direct swap and George goes to Red Bull.
Yeah.
Or he heads over to Aston Martin if Alonso doesn't stay. I mean, a lot of people only have a contract for this year.
Yeah.
So we're approaching silly season. So I think something will come out then.
So excited. I cannot wait. And time will tell. I'm in two minds. I say so many, I don't say so many different things. I'm like, I could see Max going to Mercedes, but George. Then I saw this. Yeah. Then I saw this photo.
I think George needs to be pipped off his post, to be entirely honest, and be like, realize that he's not invincible.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. Hey, let's get into random moments of the week. Have you got any?
I've got none.
Well,
because
I
was like, okay, just to put in perspective, and I said this to you earlier, I felt like I was at Silverstone even though I wasn't there, purely because we had Hayley on the ground there from Principal, and she was trying to do her actual job. So I was doing all the Principal stuff because we were doing lots of sales. We had lots of customers over there buying hats, and I was trying to organise where they'd pick up the hats from and all that sort of stuff and the jumpers. So I was more focusing on Principal throughout the weekend, which was exciting to see. My random moment, which is my great. Actually, I'll save it for the green flag. You go. Random moments. I'll save it for green
save
flag.
for green flag. All right. So there was two that I thought were funny. So there was this clip of George Russell. I don't know if you saw at the beginning of the like broadcasting of the weekend. They put him in this like old, super like 1950s Mercedes, and he had one of those. I don't know what those hats are. You know the hat.
Oh, he looked like he was from Peaky Blinders. Did you see Toto Wolff wearing that in the garage?
Yes, that hat, that exact hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like, I know I've seen him in real life, so I don't think this. Sometimes I think he kind of looks like this creepy AI doll. Do you get that vibe off George?
Because he's got like perfect skin and a very symmetrical face.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy. And he looked like this distinguished gentleman. And they did this like funny little like clip thing on it. But I was like, oh, that freaks me out. Like he looked like a doll that was like, hello. That. And then also Keanu Reeves was there this weekend. He's often at race weekends.
He is, and I want to know what you're going to say about him being there for a random moment, because he's always there.
No, well, the random moment is the fact that Sky News was like, oh, look, and Keanu Reeves, I think it was on quali day he was walking. They're like, yeah, Keanu Reeves is there, look at him. Oh, no. They made a few comments about him. Right next to him was Eric Banner. Yeah. And I thought they were going to be like Keanu Reeves, and next to him Eric Banner. They were just like talking about Keanu Reeves, and Eric Banner's right next to him. I was like, what about Eric? Give him some credit too.
So Eric's actually been in the last couple of races.
Yeah.
And they've shown him on the TV each time. They never name him. I don't think they actually know who Eric Banner is.
Really?
Because he was in Oscar's garage the other day, because he's very close with Mark Webber. Who is Oscar's manager.
We were chatting to him at MotoGP about that.
Yeah, and we said, would you like to come on the podcast? And he said no. He's a very quiet figure. He's just a really big fan of the sport. I think there must be some involvement, because he's always around with Mark and Oscar. And they were like, they panned to Eric Banner in Oscar's garage. And this is in Austria, actually. And they were just like, and there's a friend of Oscar Piastri. I was like, yeah.
What?
That's an Aussie legend, Eric Banner.
Oh, dear.
So I don't actually think they know who he is.
Well, come on, Sky News, get your story straight.
I thought they would, but
surely.
He's always around.
Also, like, he's been in some pretty big movies. He was in Troy. Anyway, green flag, red flag. You kick it off.
I have two really amazing green flags. So the first one is that we had one of our principal Lando hats signed by Lando Norris, which was very exciting. We actually caught footage of it because McLaren just happened to put that on their stories, which was so exciting that that's what they featured on their stories.
That the second time that something from Principal has been in a McLaren story? I think
yeah.
it is. I think like a few like
Principal was also on ESPN as well as the F1 stories. There were lots of little clips floating around like that. And it's really cool to see it popping up in big channels. But also half the time we don't spot it. It's a lot of the Principal fans sending it to us being like, oh my God, did you see this? And screenshots. And then you get 100 messages from people and you're like, yes, I saw it.
I see it now. But thank you very much.
Everyone's not messaging. I see it. I just needed one person.
Yeah.
So yeah, really great to have so many people around being like sending that to us and having so many eyes on us. But my biggest green flag was that I ran a 10K yesterday.
Woohoo!
Which might not be a big thing for people, but I haven't run that distance since I was like 14.
Wow.
I reckon. And I'm 31 now, so let's say that's a different lifetime. So I'm saying I never have run that distance before. And it was my goal by middle of this year. And it is funny that I actually went back and had a look at my notes file, which has my goals for 2025 on it. And it was run a 10K by mid-year. And I looked at that on Saturday and I was like,
I did it.
I was like, oh, fuck, I haven't done that. And then the next day I was going for a run with someone and I just had that in the back of my mind and we ran around the Albert Park track as well. Yahoo! And I had like a lot of different F1 thoughts and training things. And it was just a very euphoric moment for me to actually complete that. And I had a little tear at the end because
proud of you.
How often do you actually write down a goal
and achieve it?
And something that is not an easy goal. That wasn't an easy thing for me. That was a very, very mentally challenging thing and really hard physically because I've been so sick.
Yeah, I know. I was like, Ellie, you okay? Were you coughing afterwards?
But also, I never was coughing during my sickness, which was great. But I think I, had been training to run this 10K, but I still hadn't gone above 5K.
Wow.
So I literally just doubled
it. Shows us all having someone there to like help you push you through.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Stella.
Proud of you.
Thank you. What about
red
you?
flag? Do you have a red flag?
I have no red flags.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I could say all the boring shit, but no, I'm just focusing on the green flags this week.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I'll start off with my red flag and then I'll say my green flag. My red flag, and I didn't say this whilst we were talking about the race, I feel like this might be a red flag for you too. The other day, we're on the other side of the world and most of our races are at different times, right? And a lot of the time, like I'll go into a race weekend and be like, oh, yep, I'll, watch it on Monday morning, and kind of just be like, yep, I'll watch that race on Monday morning. And this whole weekend, I was like, I just have this feeling that Silverstone is just going to be such an epic race. And there was so much, I felt like this weekend, and even across like a lot of the F1 creators in Australia, like it was like, I feel like everyone could feel the Silverstone energy from here.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's huge.
I don't get that feeling from every race. Really.
No,
and there was,
I think I can answer what that is because there's more marketing around.
Yeah, of course.
Around the British Grand Prix than any other race.
Yeah. But even just like, I don't know, I could just,
see more Aussies go to Silverstone as well.
That too. But I was like, I've just got this like amazing feeling and like I just think it's going to be such an epic race. And I, felt so invested in this over this weekend. And I was actually going to message you and be like, should we watch this live? I just had this feeling. I was like, I just want to watch this race live. But so my red
I have regrets that I didn't watch it. But I was so tired I couldn't. Nah, there was no way I'll stay up. I'm not very good at staying up. You know me. I need to be asleep by 10 o'clock. I'm such an early bed person.
But I was going to message you and be like, because I know there are times where I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to come over at 4 o'clock and we're going to watch this live, or I'm going to do, let's watch this, or I'll come over. And I know sometimes that like I can kick you enough to you be like, fine, okay. I wish I said something, but at the same time,
I'm putting it out there. There is no way. I'm going to say there is absolutely no way I would have stayed up.
But even like,
I would have fallen asleep. I'm not good with that. Look, we had an opportunity to have a live party viewing and I said no.
Yeah. So my red flag is, you know, sometimes when people on the other side of the world, they complain about like Australia, when it's like Australian Grand Prix or like even Japan or Singapore, which isn't even that bad. And I'm not being like, oh, woe is me, but it is hard for us over here and it's frustrating. And there are races where you just think, oh, it's really annoying. Like I wish I could watch that live. And I know, yes, I could stay up and watch it, you know, oh, why didn't you stay up? But it's also like, it's hard. I mean, we've got a lot of things going on and I'm sure like a lot of people do have the flexibility or can just stay up, and I've got a baby, and also like, you know, we work really hard to get this episode out. And I will say as well, which we kind of didn't say, but sorry, I didn't say, but you know, so everyone, all our listeners know, is now our episodes always come out on a Tuesday at 5 p.m. and our bonus episodes come out on a Thursday at 5 p.m. And, you know, we work really hard to record on a Monday and get the episode out. And yeah, so that's kind of my red flag. Like I was really bummed that I didn't get to watch that live. So that's my red flag. And then my green flag is I have a very fun car at the moment, which I can't talk about, but for a project that I will be doing and that Elle will be featuring in at some point. And so Saturday night, Peter, I and the Mush went out for dinner, just like a real chill dinner. And then we left the Mush at home with Peter's parents. And we went for a really fun late night drive around like some really cool parts of Victoria. And we were like, wow, we've been in this car for so long. And it was just really epic, and like we just had a really fun time. And for those that don't know, like Peter is very much into cars as well. So that was very fun. So that's my green flag. And yeah.
Happy times.
Happy times.
All right. We better get out of this.
Yes.
It's been a longer episode than usual.
Yes. But thank you
Lots
for
to say.
listening.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week. No race. But
If you've enjoyed this, please don't forget to subscribe. Give us a follow.
Yes.
Send us any feedback if you have it.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
we'll chat to you
we would
soon.
love feedback, because if there's anything you like or don't like, we want to know.
Yeah. We'll chat to you soon.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.